In today's video, we'll talk about lane freezing. It's a technique that most, if not all, high-level players value, while newer or lower-ranked players tend to ignore. This is not surprising because it directly contradicts a fundamental principle of the game: aggressively killing enemy minions. Minion kills are crucial for acquiring gold and experience, driving most less experienced players towards constant wave aggression. However, there are specific instances where prioritizing minion kills is counterproductive. This is where lane freezing comes in. If you're unfamiliar with the topic, lane freezing is the act of manipulating minion waves on the lane by allowing enemy minions to win against your minions whenever necessary, while simultaneously harassing or zoning the opposing lane hero away from the area where they can gain resources without directly engaging the enemy minions. Sounds counterintuitive, but it's not. Its goal is to prevent the opposing lane hero from gaining experience and gold from your minions, which can go a long way and can make winning the game easier. It's basically an effective technique in gaining not just level advantage, but also gold advantage. Remember, a hero that's lacking in both experience and gold is a hero that's lacking in both level and equipment. And a hero lacking in both level and equipment is an easier target. In addition to that, it also helps keep your minions remain closer to your turret, which forces the enemy hero to step closer to your territory, making it easier for your allies to gank. Let's dissect and analyze this gameplay clip in order to show how an effective lane freeze should be done. First, try not to show up on the lane frequently. Utilize bushes to your advantage and only come out of bushes to either last hit enemy minions or to zone out the opposing lane hero. When one of your minions is about to die, step out of the bush and start zoning or harassing the opposing lane hero. Don't just step out if your minion still has a lot of health left. When someone sees a minion with low health, most players would prepare themselves to engage it. When you step out right at that very moment, it can, at times, ruin their momentum. At that moment, instead of attacking the minions, we zoned Zilong instead. In doing so, he missed out in gaining experience and gold from one of our minions. Try your best not to get the enemy minions' attention. Remember, you must let the enemy minions deal damage to your minions in order for this to be effective. Again, don't just stand and stay out on the lane. Utilize the bushes and only step out to last hit or zone the enemy hero. Patience, being observant, and timing is key. As you can see, the Zilong player noticed that one of our minions was about to die, so he was preparing to engage in order to gain some experience and gold. Of course, we are not going to let him get what he wants easily. The impact of effective lane freezing is taking its toll on Zilong. He already missed gaining experience and gold from 2 minions, which will give us a 1 level advantage over him in a few seconds. If you think this content is helpful, please like the video, share it to your friends, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. To overcome our lane freeze, the Zilong player decided to freeze the lane as well, and only engaged whenever needed, such as to last hit minions, or at the very least gain experience and gold passively. However, he eventually got impatient and decided to play aggressively against our minions. If he only let his minion wave lose to ours, the next wave of minions from our side would have been closer to his turret, but since he aggressively cleared our remaining minions, the surviving enemy minion wagon was enough to help us build up the minion wave near our turret again. As you can tell, the minion waves are gathered closer to our turret again, which makes it easier for us to zone Zilong out, and also makes it riskier for him to gain experience and gold, since he will be forced to stay closer to our turret near dangerous entry points that my allies can use to gank. Map and field awareness are also important traits to have in order to freeze the lane properly, and it's also not just the minions you need to worry about. Remember, the crab is another excellent source of experience and gold, so try to guard it as well. If the opposing lane hero decides to keep attacking the crab, try your best to steal it. After all, it gives a significant amount of resources even though the attacker is not a jungler. Don't get too carried away though. Remember that lane management is a combination of lane freezing and lane clearing. Not all the time you have to freeze, sometimes you have to clear aggressively. At this moment in the game, I was guessing that Zilong had already given up and decided to help his team in skirmishes. If my assumption was correct, he should still miss out in gaining experience and gold from one of our minions by letting his turret kill one of our minions while Zilong is away.
The Smiths have my compliments.
As you can see on the scoreboard, besides only Tigreal, Zilong was the hero with the lowest gold. Despite being on the XP lane, he's also one of the heroes with the lowest level. This is how much lane freezing can impact the enemy team. Even though we didn't have any kills yet, it almost looks like we destroyed Zilong. This is one of the disadvantages of lane freezing. It can slow down your pace, which can sometimes prevent you from helping out your teammates. Later on, we'll talk about the other disadvantages of this strategy, so make sure to stay tuned. Like I said earlier, not all the time you should lane freeze. Since Zilong was busy on the mid lane, we decided to clear the minions quickly and also take advantage of the crab. He might have taken one of our allies down, but that doesn't mean his nightmare is over. Since he gave us the opportunity to farm quickly, we were able to gain a 2-level advantage over him. Now that you know how to lane freeze properly, let's talk about some of its disadvantages. Like we discussed earlier, one of the disadvantages is slower pacing. Because of this, you might end up with lower gold and level as opposed to aggressively lane clearing. To overcome this, you have to be aware of how your team is performing and change your pace accordingly. If your teammates are getting wrecked and a lot of the opposing heroes are gaining a lot of gold and experience, it might be a better idea to clear your lanes aggressively in order for you to help them in team fights. Lane freezing requires good macro management skills and knowledge. If you lack map awareness, field awareness, and proper judgment of hero matchups, lane freezing might actually help the opposing team to win. Now that we've covered how lane freezing is practiced, its advantages and disadvantages, I am sure a lot of you are asking, what are situations when lane freezing is applicable? First is during the laning phase. The laning phase is the first 5 minutes of the match. This technique is most useful for most XP laners because of their effectiveness in self-sustaining their health, survivability, and ability to deal damage efficiently. Gold laners can use this technique as well in order to control and limit the opposing gold laner's resource gain, but they have to be extra careful because of how fragile most gold laners are. Proper micro or hero control and advanced matchup knowledge are necessary in order to pull it off as a gold laner. As for the mid lane, I don't think it's a good idea for them to lane freeze during the laning phase. Mid laners are expected to clear their lane aggressively in order to have extra time in joining early game skirmishes, help either side lanes in ganking enemies, and help secure major objectives such as the turtle. Lane freezing can be a useful technique in ganking as well. By utilizing key areas such as nearby bushes, you can use your minions to lure out unsuspecting enemies and easily take them down. And finally, in securing a victory. This requires cooperation from the entire team to be successful. Depending on the situation, either the entire team freezes and hides in bushes, or some of them pushes a different lane to create a diversion. The main objective of this strategy is to take down as many enemy heroes as possible with 0 to minimal losses. During situations where your team is leading the game and have destroyed a lot of their turrets, instead of clearing aggressively, camp in some of the nearby bushes and wait for some of the enemies to go to the lane. This is most useful when the enemies decide to camp in their base and wait for minions to arrive instead of pushing. Being successful in defeating 2 or more heroes can give your team the opportunity to transition either in pushing their weakest lane to victory or taking the Lord with minimal threats. To our high-level viewers, Did I miss any other recommendations when it comes to lane freezing? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see each other on the next one.